What what do you feel is really important that stands out in the book?
I think it shows a very different picture of Columbus than people today think. I mean, they're accusing him of genocide, which is totally ridiculous. That is not, he never had a slave. He didn't want that. It was the horrible men that Isabella sent over, who did all the marauding and raping and killing against his orders. I've seen the orders. And he was very upset about a lot of that.
We have Dr. Delaney here. Thank you very much for being on this quick Zoom show.
His people don't realize, and it's in his writings, it's in his agreement with Queen Isabella. The whole purpose was to go to China to meet the Grand Khan, like Marco Polo, to set up a trading post. What they don't know is that the profits, or the money, whatever you want to call it, from the trade was to be used to finance a crusade to take Jerusalem back from the Muslims before the end of the world. And it was a very apocalyptic time. The Black Death had taken 50 million people or something, before this. And a lot of them, the Genoese were in Constantinople and in Genoa and so forth. They could not go to Jerusalem. They could not make pilgrimages. Columbus, as I said, was very religious, and he wanted Jerusalem to be back in Christian hands so that Christ could come again. The temple had to be rebuilt so Christ could come again and save all believers. It's in his writings. That's also why he wanted all the people that he met to be baptized. Baptized people could not be enslaved. He kept asking for Isabella to send priests to teach them and then baptize them, because he wanted them all to be saved. So that was his whole thing. And he figured out twice how many years were left. He would be dead before it, but he thought that he had a very important role to play to try and get Jerusalem back.
Your background, your professional background, you're an anthropologist. How is that different? Let's say I'm the layman. How's that different from a historian? What's better? You know what I mean?
I mean, I did my original field work in Turkey, where I lived in a little village in the middle of nowhere for a couple of years. But the whole point of being an anthropologist is to try and get into the life and the mindset of the people that you are studying. So I had to learn a lot about, 15th century Italy, and about what the history of things that had gone on around Columbus's time. And also I had studied a lot about religion. I have a degree, as you know, from Harvard Divinity School. I'm a critic of religion, but I know a lot about it. And so I could easily understand where Columbus was coming from. The Santa Maria had gone aground.
Yes.
So he had to go get a rescue ship, and he had to leave 39 men behind. When he came back, they were all dead. And the people who came back with the 17 ships that Isabella sent, they were furious, and they said, we've got to go kill Guacanagari, the chief. And the people, Columbus said, absolutely not. He believed the chief when he met him that they had gone marauding and raping and killing to another tribe, another village or whatever. And it was those people who came and killed them all. And Columbus believed that, and I think he was absolutely right about that. And so after that, probably in remorse, both for what his men had done, and some of those men who were dead were friends of his.
Yes.
But also, I think, also in remorse for what they had done to the natives. And that's when he became a lay Franciscan monk.
Very, very.
And is said to have worn the robes for the rest of his life. This is what he wrote about the people. I believe that in the world there are no better people or a better land. They love their neighbors as themselves, and they have the sweetest speech in the world. They're always gentle and always laughing. Already, they seem to be natural Christians. That's me. I mean, he said they seem to be natural Christians, and he thought they could easily be converted.
Wow.
And I didn't know anything about Columbus either. And I think I have mentioned that in some place that it was in '99 when I was teaching a class at Stanford called Millennial Fever. And I came across one little footnote to Columbus's apocalyptic millennial beliefs. And I thought, what? I never heard of anything like that. I asked historians there. They'd never heard of anything like that. So I became intrigued, especially since I've been interested in religion too. And the more I learned, the more I got fascinated. And I was giving a lecture then. I had to come over to Brown to give a lecture about my other field work. And somebody said, well, what is your new interest? And I said, well, I've just gotten interested in Columbus. And they said, oh, you've got to go to the John Carter Brown Library here. It has a lot of material about what is called the encounter between the old world and the new. So, of course, like a good student, I went over and met the director. And I went back for the summer, did a lot of reading and reading and reading, and loved it, and decided I was going to retire from Stanford and move to Providence, continue the research.
Wow.
I also went to Genoa, I went to Portugal, I went to Spain, all the places. I've been in Columbus's house. They have kept it in Genoa.
Wow.
So I've been there.
Wow.
And the one in Seville, I've also been there. So I felt like I got to know something more about him. So I'm happy to talk about him because I think he's getting a bad rap. And I'm worried about, changing Columbus, getting rid of Columbus Day. I mean, I think there should be an Indigenous Peoples Day, but it should be separate. Thing about Columbus, and I didn't know anything either until I started all this research, and I've been appalled about all the destruction of the statues and desecration, and let's get rid of them, and because they know nothing. They know nothing.
I had some critics when I was posting on Facebook that they didn't like he left from Spain. They wanted him to leave from Italy. Can you comment on that?
I think nobody was willing to finance the voyage, and so he went to Spain, and Isabella finally agreed. Oh, I know. One of the things is that he was always very close to Franciscans religiously, and he always stayed with Franciscans wherever he traveled. And one of the places was the monastery called La Rábida, which is right above Palos, which is where the first voyage took off from. I've been to La Rábida. They keep Columbus's place setting and his bed as he left it.
Wow, that's amazing.
Anyway, they were the ones who were able to get an audience with Isabella. Somehow or other, one of the friars knew a friar close to Isabella, and that's how that relationship was arranged from the monastery at La Rábida with the Franciscan.
By the way, just
this is what he wrote about the people. I believe that in the world there are no better people or a better land. They love their neighbors as themselves, and they have the sweetest speech in the world. They're always gentle and always laughing. Already, they seem to be natural Christians. That's me. I mean, he said they seem to be natural Christians, and he thought they could easily be converted.
wow.
Yeah, he liked them, as far as I could tell.
Yeah.
Probably better than some of his own men.
Yeah, and I.
The hardback, and it looks much better.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
I didn't.
Let me show you. It looks much better.
Wow! Look at
It
that.
doesn't have all that stuff at the top. So I'll show you. Here it is.
Oh
Look.
yeah, I see. Get rid of books, and I definitely want to read the rest of the book. I'm excited,
Okay.
and thank you so much for your time. I'm gonna go.